City Board of Education meeting for the Zumwalt School District. You would stand please for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Breen.
Craig.
Yes.
Gabriel. Erica.
Yes.
John.
Present.
Tom.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
The records will show that Tommy George is absent.
And it is excused. I need a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening's meeting.
I move for approval of the agenda as presented.
Second by Moore. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I need a motion for this board to go into closed session under Missouri Statute 610.021 for legal matters.
More.
Moore, second. Powers, roll call please.
Craig.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Erica.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Mike.
I need a motion for this board to come back into open session.
Motion.
Holmes, second. Callahan, roll call.
Craig.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yep.
Erica.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Mike.
All right. This time we have spoken to our attorney. We've received counsel there. Gonna open this up for comments from the board. If there are any specific comments, debate, anything that you want to talk about at this point.
I'm going to reiterate the points that I made downstairs. We have a number of things that we need to focus on. From student academics to repairing our staff salaries, all of which require our time, energy, focus, money. Entering into a lawsuit or a fight against the lawsuit at this point with where we are right now, I consider to be extremely financially irresponsible for the direction of this district. We have things that we are called upon to do that we have largely ignored for 2 years. And I'm beyond the point where I think it can be considered tolerable any longer. We have kids that have dropped substantially in the area that we are actually sworn to support. We have staff who desperately need our resources focused on their salaries and their future. This is the wrong time for this.
Callahan.
My point of view is that this is the right time for us to take a position to fight this overreaching of. It's not a joke, sir.
You're a joke, baby.
Excuse me.
But there is a meddlesome and overreaching function of our Attorney General that interferes with the job that we were voted in to do. And we can address those problems of the immediate future, hopefully improving the education environment for our children, but we need to keep them safe.
Nope.
And we keep them safe with our current school, back to school policy. And that says when the incidence of infection is high enough, you go to mask.
Fear.
That's the first step
Anyone
to
else?
solving some of the problems that have been identified by my cohort to my right. He is correct. We need to focus on the potential problems in the future, but we've got a big problem right now.
Fear. Fear.
Any other comments?
For a 4% threshold,
Yes, sir.
an arbitrary 4% threshold is not the first step towards fixing academic failures across an entire district.
It is a situation of keeping our children safe so we can educate.
We have focused down this path for 2 years. And all the while, our kids have suffered more and more on the one area that we're supposed to stay focused on, Johnny. And now we are talking about diverting funds and diverting energy for something that will be past us in a matter of weeks. We're entering into a long-term battle.
You're safe there.
You're mortgaging our future for something that will be past us in a matter of weeks.
It's true.
Yeah, you do.
Right, there's no way to look in the future, but that's your
But I can look at
prediction.
the current data. I can look at what's on
Not
the
debating
plate
that,
right
I'm just
now.
saying, we don't know 100% if it will. But one of the things that we were elected to do is keep our kids healthy and safe. I'm not gonna talk over you. It's inappropriate. I'm talking, do not talk over me. That's
My
all.
body, my right.
We weren't talking over you.
We are doing that. So if you have an issue with that, what is he doing by coming in and telling us what we can and can't do that's overstepping his reach?
His job.
I'm talking about what we do, okay? We have a choice to make. We can choose to
And
go
we did.
fight against something, to spend our money on it, whether we win or lose, guys, it's gonna cost us. There's no getting around it. And so we get to make that choice. We get to choose whether or not our money is better spent fighting for an arbitrary 4% mitigation threshold or paying our staff
Not
better.
on the arbitrary mitigation threshold. It's the fact of, it's not his right to come in and overstep. His job is here, but he doesn't have the right to come in to elected boards and tell them you can and can't do this. That's completely the truth, right? So it's not the mitigation fact of it. It's the fact of, where does it end? What if it's the next thing that he
That's what all of
says?
us parents emailed it.
What if it's the next thing that he says?
Yes, then what we're doing right now, this moment, is we're making a choice to not spend our money in areas like student achievement, salaries for staff.
But we are.
We're saying
We
we're
are
gonna
spending
go
our
this
money on
way.
that, though. That's not
Listen,
true,
every
Tom.
penny we spend on the lawsuit fight is a penny that doesn't go towards that.
But you don't even know how much we're gonna spend on
I
that.
know, but here's the deal, here's what's really interesting about that, right, is that neither do you. And we don't know what we're getting ourselves into.
But we do know
We,
what he's doing and what he's taking away that is legally unfounded.
I'll swallow my ego if it means that our staff gets higher salaries and our students get better achievement.
Yeah, we all want that, you know that. And you know that's what we all fight for, you know that's what everybody that sits here, all of our staff, day in and day out, that's what everybody is working for. We know it's not working for that and trying for that.
2 years, the primary conversation has been COVID.
It's had to be, but that doesn't mean that this stuff isn't going on, that everybody's not working on it, that there aren't committees all over, that all these people aren't working on it,
Too many
that all of
committees.
our teachers aren't doing that every single day.
Last week, we saw the impacts of the academics in this district and across the state. We saw that last week.
And you know what I've seen too? I've seen our numbers that have gone up substantially by using new programs that people have been investing in. 95% program. We talked about that. Have we looked at the numbers of that in all our elementary schools? It's gone up. It's working. Our kids are reading. We're filling the gap. So all these teachers that were saying we're not doing this, working, they've been doing this and they've been working so hard on it, and our kids have been working hard, and we are filling the gaps and the numbers are going up and it's working. So yes, we do need to talk about that more, and I want to talk about education every time in our meetings instead of COVID, and have emails about COVID all the time. I understand that. And you know what? I hate the fact that we were put in this position. I hate it. It's ridiculous. The whole position of boards and everything has shifted, and it should never have happened. It should not have. But that's,
Not our kids.
unfortunately, from the top down, is what they have done, and put people in the positions to do that. And one of our jobs that we were elected to do is keep our kids safe and healthy.
No, that's our job.
We have
Let us debate.
leave this in the past. Or focus on our future. We have battled this for 2 years. It is time to focus on our future.
And I understand that, and just because we want it to go away doesn't mean that it is. Hopefully, it's gonna keep going down. But what if another one comes in and it spikes up, are we just gonna say, stop with the I mean, we have.
Everybody in the audience.
Not choosing to fight.
You had
this
the
now.
idea that you disagree with her already. You don't need to keep going and going. Just, it's gonna take forever if you do that every time you talk.
Not choosing to fight this now doesn't change your future. It means that we're not diverting it now.
But him saying that we can't put anything in place and doing that does. Because if something comes in the future and we have nothing laid out and we're sitting there and there's some other, God knows what, and I hope nothing else comes, but what if it does? We have to have something set in place so we're not in a position like we were before of, how are we gonna handle this? How's this gonna go? That we say, okay, this is how it's gonna roll, right? But if he takes that away, which isn't his right to do, then what do we do?
Bowing out of this doesn't do anything to you in the future. It keeps you from entering into a multi-year fight now.
I disagree with that. From the things that he's done and said, I disagree with that. I think it will, and I think that's what he wants to do, and I don't think that's right.
Correct, Gabriel?
Well, I mean, I already expressed my opinion, but I'll just reiterate it. First of all, Tom is right. You know, there is a lot of things that we do need to be dealing with outside of this, and yeah, we shouldn't have to spend any money on a lawsuit, and I think that's something that the Attorney General needs to keep in mind as well, that we have other things that we could be doing other than dealing with him. So, I mean, as far as us backing down from him, I'm not interested in that at all. I think what we have in place and what we've come up with and agreed upon, survey was put out, 50% of the parents said one thing, 50% felt another way. I think out of respect for both sides, what we have is what we need to keep.
No, I agree with Mr. Emmons that it's time to move forward, to look past the endemic that we're currently in, and to look to the future of our kids. Erica, you're right, our teachers have done an amazing job through this, still trying to keep kids excelling and everything, but it is time to move forward. It's time to move on past it. Although I don't agree with Attorney General Eric Schmidt bringing the lawsuit against us, I also don't agree it's something that we need to fight. It's not a good use of our resources, as Mr. Emmons pointed out. So, yeah, I'm ready to move on and go back to continuing on with the great things the school district usually does.
I think Fort Zumwalt has done a phenomenal job. The teachers, the staff, we've done a wonderful job trying to educate our kids during the toughest of times, unprecedented in our time. Unfortunately, there are school boards that have made universal mandates, and they've done numerous different things that have caused oppression on the schools. And because of those, Eric Schmidt is making a decision to combat that. We were universally mandated for a month. I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to make sure that our kids have the choice. I'm all about parental choice and parental rights and allowing the kids to do whatever the parents think they need to do, whether it's mask or not mask.
Yes.
I think that it's unfortunate for us because we have that threshold, which does throw us into a mandate situation that we got pulled into this lawsuit. But I don't think that it's important enough. I mean, we do talk about being bullied by Attorney General Schmidt, right? But I think that there's a faction of our kids that are probably feeling that we're bullying them as well.
Yes.
It just doesn't make sense to me to be spending money to fight something that, as Tom said, will probably go away in a few weeks. To where we won't have the mandates.
May I have a second?
Yes.
I think one of the things that is my primary concern is that 12 to 15% of the population of our students that have various forms of IEPs, that have situations of compromised immunity, illnesses, that need to be protected, probably on a full-time basis by any caregiver, any teacher, any parent, and we do that through our current policy, which I think should stand. Our back-to-school policy of 17 October, that was a compromise. That 4% was also, came out of a discussion, that was a compromise. We need to think of that entire population of 17,600 children. And we know that probably 15% are covered by IEPs. And who knows what's in the middle. I think we've got to have that 4% masked up.
Since we brought up IEPs,
Yes, sir.
I think it's important that we acknowledge that our current policies also have an impact on kids that have IEPs that are otherwise heard by masking. You can't just lump IEPs in as though everybody with an IEP requires everybody around them to have a mask on.
That IEPs cover a whole range of situations and mental and physical abilities.
So the problem we have here is that we're gonna deadlock. I mean, I'm gonna I can throw a motion out there, get a second, we can vote, and it's gonna be a deadlock. I can tell you that right now. You say, Celinda, and I'm not asking for opinion, this is fact. At what point in time does this district have to respond to the Attorney General?
Within 30 days after being served by the petition, with the petition.
Okay, so that would be after our next school board meeting. Likely.
Likely, yes, very much more likely than not.
All right.
Kick the can, like, can't kick the can.
Whether we end up in a deadlock or not, I'm not leaving here without an up and down vote.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we immediately disband all COVID mitigations.
Yes.
Effective immediately.
And
Who's the second?
regarding the lawsuit to what? Or is that even part of it at this point?
Yeah, you
And the lawsuit, we'll address the lawsuit secondarily, but we'll go there and we'll address the lawsuit based on the fact that we have rescinded all COVID mitigations.
All right.
I'll second.
Wait,
Don't, are you, you're not talking about all mitigations, I mean, hand washing?
no.
Oh.
I don't know the town keeps watching this mitigation. Look at that.
Okay.
So the 4% threshold and the 3 student per class. Is there anything I'm missing?
I think we need to vote on that. I will second.
Any discussion about that? Roll call.
Tom has been straightforward.
Craig,
I agree with Tom, yes.
Gabriel,
No.
Erica,
No.
John,
No,
Tom,
Emphatically, yes.
Mike.
Absolutely, yes. So, as I predicted, we have a deadline.
Thank you, Mike, Tom, Craig.
So can we, I don't know what I can and can't say at this point, but as far as the information that you said you would gather for us,
I would do that.
right?
Which statute are you guys standing on?
So, at this point, there is no action that can happen tonight.
Require people to wear their hair short.
I need a motion to adjourn. Helms, second. Ours, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Yeah.
I'm opposed.